We're with Maggie Bodington and Emily Becher, Eastern Women's Soccer, getting ready for their season opener on September 1st. Emily, generally, how did preseason go?
I think preseason went really well. A lot of the girls came in shape. The majority of the team passed the fitness test. So we were able to get right down to soccer. We're working really hard to stay in shape so that throughout the season, especially come towards the end of the season, we're where we need to be fitness-wise. So I think we're working really hard. The legs are obviously really sore, which is, what you get in preseason. But I think overall it's gone really well. The freshmen have stepped up, and they're, becoming part of the team, both socially and also athletically, which is good to see. And then the rest of the team, I think, has come a long way since last year.
Well, talking about last year for both of you guys, plus we had a lot of freshmen that were starters, and we had a lot of freshmen that came into camp last year. Maggie, you guys have been through the preseason once. Does it make it easier when you come into preseason for the second year?
Oh, 100%. At least for me personally, I found that it was easier because I knew what was expected of me, and I knew how to achieve what my expectations were of myself and what coach had put on me.
You guys played in high school, obviously. Was the preseason at Eastern that much different than a preseason in high school in terms of the demands?
For me personally, it's completely different. I wouldn't even consider it the same thing, to be honest. High school wasn't as serious in my town, and the high school I went to, fitness was like a foreign language, at least compared to the fitness we do here. So I was definitely ill prepared last year coming in, not really knowing what to expect on the fitness front.
Well, it sounds like a lot of people were ill prepared coming into last year as compared to this year, right?
Yeah, definitely. This year there was literally a handful of girls that didn't pass, and last year almost half the team didn't pass the first day, but they all passed on their second try, which was good. So I think that the girls had a better understanding which that was expected of them. So a lot of girls came in more prepared. They did their summer workout. They understood where they needed to be in preseason if they wanted to start and play on the team and make a difference.
Well, you guys got 15 players back from last year, and about 10 of them are sophomores. That freshman class last year was something else, huh? And you look at this year's class of those last year's freshmen taking another step this year as sophomores. You know what I mean? Getting to the next level because you've been through it once.
Definitely. I think that there's a lot more chemistry. We're more comfortable. It's always hard the first few games when you don't know your teammates. You don't have any idea how they're going to play. This year, the sophomore class, a lot of us started and played last year, so we know how each other play, our strengths, our weaknesses, and that contributes to success on the field if you know where your teammate wants the ball, how they want the ball, the pace of the ball, if they prefer it at their feet, if they're a fast player. So all that comes into play, and we have a year behind us of experience, so I think that only good things can happen this year.
Well, Maggie, you guys won your last 8 games last year. Is that sort of what Emily's talking about? In other words, first 10 games of the year last year, you're 500, and you're feeling each other out, and then you guys really hit a groove. Was there a certain point in the year where that really made you guys believe in themselves? Was there a specific game or anything?
I think specifically the Amherst game was the biggest game of the year for us. Having winning that game against a nationally ranked team was definitely a confidence boost, and it made us realize that, hey, we can actually play with these teams. We can play, we work well together, we know what we're doing, and we created a name for ourselves, I think, that game.
Last year's defense was very good. You only gave up a little over a goal a game. The offense, Emily, you had 18, which was one of the highest totals all time. But you scored almost half of the team's goals. Will you get more help this year, as far as you can tell, offensively from other people?
I believe so. Last year was a building year for me, confidence-wise, and I had a really strong support system within my midfield. So I think that you're going to see Nikki step up. You're going to see...
The Silicato?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're going to see Mackenzie Ramondo step up. You're going to see Anna Manzer, who's a transfer, step up. You're going to see Maggie Sayers step up on the outside. You're going to see those girls step up and play into more scoring opportunities because I'm going to be taken away from teams. It's not a secret anymore like last year. So I think that the supporting cast the supporting midfield that helped me last year is going to play a huge role in providing those extra goals so that we, you know, are winning games 2-0, not 1-0.
Well, do you see yourself, you've always been a goal scorer, but could your role change at all where you may pick up 6 or 7 or 8 assists because you're getting double teamed and you're seeing teammates that are open?
Yeah, I always say the role for me on the field is to make sure we win the game. So if I need to score, I'll score. If the opportunities are there, you know, I'll take them. But if not, I don't care who scores as long as we're winning. So if if my job is to get in behind the defense and cut it back and play to players or play more of a hold-up style, that's good and fine with me. I just want to win.
As long as someone puts it in the net,
as long as it goes to the back of the net, I don't care how
right.
it gets there.
We're talking a little bit about the scrimmage from yesterday, Maggie. You were talking about how the team had lost Whitney Mantell. You only lost 2 starters, basically.
Yeah.
Whitney Mantell in the back and Taylor Shannon at midfield. Does it take longer for the defense to get itself together, to read each other because you're the back line? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we definitely have an advantage coming off the fact that we only did lose 1 player, but at the same time, Whitney did play a big part in our defense. But I know that I have Michelle DeGata on my left, and so she is always someone I can count on, and Krista Peterson on my right. And as of right now, we're still trying to fill the outside right spot with Rachel Dorado and some other girls. But I think we're just right now working on like finding our chemistry and our mojo that we had by the end of the season last year. But I think we're pretty close to getting it. We realized that at the end of the scrimmage yesterday.
Did the defense feel pressure last year? Because the offense wasn't scoring that many goals. Did you guys feel that you just could not allow more than a couple of goals if we wanted to win the game? Did you ever get that feeling in the back of your mind?
Personally, no, I didn't, because I just always knew that Emily could put it in the back of the net when it came down to it. All I knew, I go into every game thinking the same thing personally, that I can't let the ball in the back of the net. Like, I will sacrifice anything I need to.
And you have, I'm sure.
Yeah, but my main objective is to not let them score. So to me personally, it doesn't matter what game it is, who we're playing, but my same job doesn't change. My job doesn't change at all.
So you'll basically have the same role that you had last year, instead
Yep.
of a center back?
Yep, 100%, yeah.
How about, we got the goalie back, Rachel Skinner. Talk a little bit, you probably be most qualified. Talk about Rachel. She's really a veteran goalie right now. Talk about her as a teammate, as a player.
Rachel Skelton is definitely a comfort having in the back. She knows what she's doing. She knows how I play. She knows how the rest of us plays. And I know I can always turn to her and ask her if I have any questions. If something's not clicking and I can't seem to understand it, I know she always has my back, and I can turn and be like, hey, what's going on? Can you just help me? What am I doing wrong? And so she's always someone who I can almost count on as another coach out there to help me, and she's another set of eyes to tell me exactly what I need. So it's nice that she's out there and she has so much experience under her belt, because she knows what needs to get done and how it needs to get done.
Does it, for you personally, being a sophomore this year, I know you've only scrimmaged once, but does it feel like the game is, like people talk about, once you get really comfortable out there, the game slows down for you? Because it's a little bit frantic your freshman year.
Oh, yeah.
You're learning so much. Do things more come into focus this year for you?
Like you said, we've only had one scrimmage,
Yeah.
so I haven't really necessarily noticed that yet, but I do think that everyone is getting more comfortable with where they are. By the end of the scrimmage last night, we were doing really well, and we were able to all take a breath, look up, see where we needed to be and everything. So I do see how that is true, but I think it's just going to have to come with a little bit more time, for me personally.
Well, Emily, we talked about this a little bit. You scored a lot of goals in high school. In first 3 or 4 games last year, your freshman year, you didn't score too much, but then you really got into a groove. Was there a point in the season where you said where you scored maybe your first goal or got 2 goals in a game, and you said, I could definitely do it at this level?
Yeah, I scored my first 2 goals against Albertus Magnus. One was in overtime to win it, so that was a huge confidence booster, because I believe there was 3 games before that, and I hadn't scored, so I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
That never happens.
Yeah, and then I think the tipping point for me was when I scored against Keene. I finally felt like, I can play at this level, I can play with these girls. I felt like my team was, getting to know me, so they knew how I wanted the ball. I mean, in that game, I wasn't playing my normal position, which was up high, but I felt like I finally was clicking with the girls on the field, which is, I think as a freshman, is really hard to get. It's hard to feel like you've clicked with the girls, and once we got that connection, it was game over. It was just, really
It went
good
from there.
Yeah, it went
It
from
fit
there.
together.
It was just, yeah.
And in that Keene game, didn't one of our defensive players score a goal also?
Yes.
They're not supposed to score. That must be a
I
memorable
did.
goal. Because that was your goal for the year.
Oh, that was
must
my
have been
one
memorable.
goal. That was the goal of my life. We can be honest with that one. Oh, almost cried after I scored it, but
And how about the assist against Amherst?
Again, another game I maybe almost cried at. Another highlight of my life. That was just a great game all around, and I'm happy to say that I was a part of making that game possible. I mean, we couldn't have done it without you scoring the first goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just shows you how much of a team effort it is, and it doesn't matter where you are on the field.
Did you score? Did you strictly play defense in high school, or were you midfield?
For the most part, I was defense. I think there were maybe a few times my coach tried playing me at defensive center mid. I know I did for a few years at club play that position, but for the past few years I've been strictly center defender, defense.
Well, let's just talk a little bit about the Little East Conference. The preseason poll came up. You guys are ranked third. Isn't that a pretty good spot to be in? I mean, who wants to be number one, really?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a good spot to be in, where maybe teams aren't looking at you as hard as they are looking at maybe Western, number one?
Yeah, I think, I think it's an accurate representation of, where we kind of fit in. I think that it's only preseason, so you kind of don't know. Nobody's played each other. But we definitely held our own last year, and I think that we can only get better. We're only going to improve. I strongly believe that we have the ability to win it this year, both the tournament and regular season. I think we have all the pieces. It's just putting them all together and, making sure that everything is clicking right. And I think it's going to be a tough season. I think that's what everybody's looking at, all the teams. There's a lot of talented players out there. So.
Well, in the conference last year, you guys played very well. I mean, Western won the regular season. You lost 1-0. The only team that gave you problems was UMass Boston. They scored 9 goals against us in 2 games, and you guys were the second best team in the conference. Did they just happen to have your number, UMass Boston, last year?
I don't even know what happened, to be honest. I think we just, for some reason, we went up there twice, and both times we were just kind of out of our element. We didn't really, something was just off, I feel like, both days, but I think they had a very good forward, Kristen, what was her last name? Layden,
Yeah.
sorry. Kristen Layden. She was definitely someone hard to play against as being a center defender. She knew what she was doing every time. So I think she was a big part of the reason they ended up doing so well, which is obvious because she was Offensive Player of the Year. And so I'm hoping it's not going to be as challenging this year. We know what we're in for when we go play them, and yeah, I think so.
Well, the Warriors open up on September 1st. They'll be playing Albertus Magnus at the Mansfield Outdoor Complex at 7:30. Ladies, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having us.